Hey girl. I don't know about you guys, but I'm one and done. Like I'm stopping at one.
Never say never.
No, seriously,
Okay.
I'm like one and done. Like, I came home and I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to do with the baby. And it was like they teach you what to do, like wash your baby and do this. But I was like, oh fuck, I'm just like I'm gonna kill her. Like there's like I'm gonna drop her and I'm gonna this and that, and then you're not sleeping. People always say like, yeah, your boobs are never gonna be the same after you give birth. It really is true, guys. That's not a myth. Like,
let's start with the dark nipples. Like, did you guys get the dark nipples?
yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
They used to be
My
pink.
nipples were as dark as this mic.
I was telling G, I was like,
And I don't know, like your JJ feels different. Like I feel like mine's different there.
But I also kind of don't want to see my vagina at the same time. Like, do people actually do that? Do people sit? I think there are people that sit there. So, okay, see, so she does
I
it.
do.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome to my first ever podcast. So I've named it Let's Be Real
Love it.
love
with
that.
Ase Wang or Ase Wang or
Funny
however
how
it
you
is.
picked us to be your first guest.
Yeah.
Why?
To let's be real.
Real, yeah.
Well,
Because I guess when we get together, that's all we do.
there's a reason, right?
Yep.
Because I wanted it to be raw and organic. And this EP is all about Let's Be Real moms.
Oh, I love it. This is like my therapy session. Driving here, I was like, it's like going to therapy. Like I'm gonna be able to just say whatever I want because she said I can be real. So we're
Well,
good.
that's what we're all about, right? Because
Yeah.
I feel that being a mom, it's like you have many mom groups, but I would consider you guys like my mom group. That's like, we can really like, here I go with the swearing and shoot the shit. I thought I got the swearing out the way, but we're back to square one. Shoot the shit with and just be real about how it is.
Yeah.
I think partly because our kids are very close in age. So we got to share a lot of things while we're going through it together. And I think that kind of brought us closer together. And also like I would say this to anyone that's becoming a mom, like find your mom friends.
Yeah.
And I mean by that is like someone that's pregnant at the same time or someone that's having a baby close to your age because really nobody else will understand. If your best friend is in a total different like time period in their life, you know, it's just a place where you can't really understand unless you're going through it.
Yeah, even if they try, they can't relate, right? Like I told Penny this when I gave birth. 4 days after, just 4 days straight. And after that, I was good. I was crying 4 days straight. I remember she came second day.
It only took you 4 days to cry.
No, but like all
I was like
day.
crying as
All
like,
day.
even before I gave birth, I was crying.
I was crying all day.
Yeah.
And one of my first thought is like, oh my God, I wasn't there for my friend. But how can I know that it's
Yeah.
brutal, man, the first few months? I can't. Like, I cannot relate. I
Yeah.
can just be like, oh, you're sleepy. Just go sleep. I'll take your kid for a while. It's not just that. It's everything
Yeah.
else that's happening to your body. Honestly, it's a hostile takeover of your body. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like someone is sucking the life out of you,
Yeah.
honestly. But it's like at the same time, it's like the most joy you've ever felt in your life.
Yeah.
So it's such a mind fuck.
Well, you're also just like, did I just fucking do that? Did I
Right?
just give
Yeah,
birth
yeah.
to another human
And like there's
being?
nowhere
Like,
back.
what?
This is it now.
It's
Like-
like nowhere back, and it's also looking at your kid and being like, how did I live without you?
Yeah.
Like, because like now I can't imagine like you're everything. But then also like, wow, life was so easy before you came along.
Good old times,
You know, it's
which
like-
we're going to talk about in a minute too.
It's like it was easy, and now you're here, and I love you so much, and I don't want to be without you. But oh gosh, you're
but
making it
we're
hard.
also 3 moms of single kids. We only have
That's true.
one child.
Yes.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm one and done. Like I'm stopping at one.
Never say never.
No, seriously, I'm
Okay.
like
Oh,
one and
okay.
done. Like, you
I
heard
was
it
just saying
here
never
first,
say never.
right?
It's like,
and
no,
if it ever
guys.
changes, we could play this back and be
Yeah.
like, you freaking hypocrite.
Yeah.
I am one and done. And I
Yeah.
should use the word
Okay.
I because obviously my husband doesn't like it. He likes we.
Yeah.
We are one and done. Although sometimes I do get the feel that John is a little bit like, well, you know, it would be nice to have 2. And then straight away I'm like, well, then you got to find another wife.
Well, all you
because
have to
I'm not
say-
around for that.
All you have to say to John is like, well, we didn't bear the child together. I did. Like,
Exactly.
you might have put it in there, yeah, but I did the work.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys would probably have more chance in having another child
I can't truly say one and done.
I don't feel
but
like you guys
I
are.
feel like I'm like 80% one and done. But there's like a 20% of sometimes where I'm like, ooh, this might be nice. And then I remember the pumping and all this stuff, you know, and then I'm like,
hell no.
For me, it's
one
just
and
like
done.
starting square one again.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Did we all
Yeah.
have C-sections or natural birth? I had a C-section.
We both had emergency,
Yeah.
not planned
Oh,
C-section.
okay.
See, let's talk about that, okay? I literally
You
want
wanna
to
go there,
punch
'cause-
anyone in the face that says, our bodies are natural, made for this. Like, you know,
Oh my
like we all can do it.
Dude, I'm like, if not C-section,
How?
I would have not noticed though. Like, how?
Yeah.
I would have rather, I made the mistake. You guys had emergency C-section,
Mm.
which props to you guys because I would have had, I mean, I already had a fucking meltdown. But I planned my C-section, which is the most hypocritical and ridiculous thing ever because I chose to have a C-section. And when the time came, I went into labor like a week early. And I'm like, well, if I'm feeling labor pains, why don't I just push at this point?
Yeah.
And my doctor was like, no, because you have to think of her like a piece of bread and you want to keep the bread in the
Interesting.
oven and bake it longer. So
Okay.
we want to
Yeah.
keep it in there for longer. So we kept her in there for 3 days. So I had 3 days of like, oh my God, the worst contractions ever. And I was like, I'm ready to push. But he was like, no, we got to go through with the plan. So I
It's
had
like
a
an
C-section.
innate thing for you, right? It's like an innate feeling
I
where
was
you
like,
like
girl,
kind of
just
want
get
to
out.
push. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out and let's just push her out.
Yeah.
And then halfway through, I kind of was regretting. I'm like, maybe I should have pushed. But you know what? I'm sure if I had pushed, I would have had other issues too. But I can't even imagine what an emergency C-section would have been like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's not scare people into that too.
No,
By the
no.
way, it took like 20 minutes and I was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah, but you
the
also
upside.
have that fear of like needles. And I know for you, it was quite hard because you had that already being fearful of like needles and all that. So the whole operation thing, the idea of that is just like, it's just a lot. But
I
you
was
vlogged
like
about it too, right?
I
Like-
was like the exorcist
Yeah.
in the operation room because I have a phobia of needles. And I always say this to my friends that are like scared of giving birth. I'm like, well, no one said it was easy, but I have such a phobia of needles
Yeah.
that if I was able to go through it and okay, I was like psychopath in the room, you can do it too.
Yeah.
And now whenever I like do like IV drips or like, I'm like, I fucking gave birth.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can
yeah.
do this shit.
Honestly, that's like my life mantra. I say that to a lot of things. I gave birth. What is this? You know? But also, like, if you're someone that's pregnant right now, like, don't be scared. Because I read somewhere, like, I remember when I knew I was pregnant, the first thing I was like, holy shit, like, how I'm going to give birth? I'm scared. But then I read somewhere they said, like, when you are close to giving birth, your fear, like, naturally our fears disappear.
Because we want out.
True though. Yeah, we want out.
And for me, it was
It's,
like
it's,
that.
it's natural. It's
Yeah.
innate. Like, okay, it's time now.
Yeah, it's really literally. I remember like we even visited like Taya. She
Yeah.
gave birth like a day or two earlier than me, right? And I was like running up the parking lot and doing squats, and I'm like just like get out, you know? Like, I just wanted the baby out, so I was like very okay with the idea of giving birth. And I think even giving birth was, even though we did the whole emergency, you know, C-section, it was scary at the time, but I feel like everything was still kind of like the information you get while you're pregnant about different, like, you know, births, there's a lot of information. So I feel like somehow you're a little bit prepared on like what could happen. The doctors give you a good rundown. But I feel like all that is like, okay, once you have the baby though, like I feel nothing. No information
I'm with you.
was enough for me to really anticipate like what it would be like to take your baby home.
Yep.
And
It's like
kind
you're
of
not equipped.
Yeah.
It's like, so all of a sudden, I feel like everything yet nothing prepares you for motherhood. I
Yeah.
feel like everything prepared, like you have a room prepared, you have all the stuff for your kid, your child, whatnot. But no one really like tells you like, okay, now go home and do what you've been doing these past 2-3 days. Depends on how long you stayed, right? I felt so lost when she's like, all right, you pooped. Because that was the measurement for like my doctors. Like, okay, you took a dump, you can go home now.
Oh, you had
My
to
doctor-
take a dump before you got sent home?
Before. Otherwise, I had
remember
to
if that
stay
was-
again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I had to stay until. I'm not sure why that was the okay card to go home. But she was just like, telling my husband G like go down, get her espresso shot, and like 20 minutes after that I could go, and she's like pack up your stuff and go, and I was just like okay.
Did you have to take a dump before you went home?
I don't remember, but
I
think
don't know if
I
it's a C-section
but I
thing.
think
I'm
I
not sure.
did, and then they asked me like, are you able to take a dump?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, I was
That
like,
was so
yeah. I was like, yeah, it
strange.
was okay.
It's honestly, I feel like everyone is just attacking your body functions at one point. Because I remember I had such, now talking about C-section, it was quite traumatizing for me because it was emergency, right? I waited till last second. They rolled me in at like 9 p.m. basically. I was like the last in the like operation, right? It was quick and fast and all that, but I had a bad reaction to the medication they gave me. So I was like, I was having like mild seizures, you know, like for a long time. Because they give you this drug where your uterus and whatnot should go to place and shrink again or something. Because naturally, if you give birth naturally, it would have done that or something. And so I remember I was just throwing up on the side while the nurse was like latching Leon, my son, to my boobs. While the doctor comes and is like, okay, you have a C-section, up and about, tomorrow 7 a.m. you should be on your feet. And then a day later, she's like, did you poop? I'm like, wait a minute, man. Like privacy is just out the window for no reason. It's like, whoop, everyone's like, did you poop? Did you pee? Like counting how many liters you pee, you're in and out, your milk. Everyone's like,
touching
the
your
nurse
boobs.
was like touching, as if it's like just not like a private
squeezing
thing
your
anymore.
nipple,
Squeezing your nipple,
like a
and
little
it's just
cow.
like, while you're like on the side, like, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I remember, I now remember why also I chose a C-section. And that was because I was scared that I was going to be stuck in traffic in Bangkok. I was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to sit in the car with like contractions, which I ended up doing anyway. But I just want to talk also a little bit about what life was before we had kids and you know how
I don't remember. It's been 2 years.
I totally remember.
Yeah.
I have to say that it's funny now when you look back at things because you appreciate your privacy so much more.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that 5 minutes that you have in the bathroom. You're like, oh my God, I have 5 minutes in the bathroom to scroll through Instagram and see what's going on. Whereas before having kids, it was like we totally took that for granted, right? Because I would be chilling on the couch, watching TV, it'd be on the phone. And now everything is just like rushed and times 10. You know, it's like even sitting on the toilet, I'm going, mom. Even yesterday, it was like, I think I heard mom like 500 times.
Yeah.
So that's like a huge change.
Yeah.
It is. And isn't it like overnight for you guys? For me, it was overnight. I had a like intense grief period of my old self. And I'm like
I remember
trying so hard to embrace this new identity. It's almost like death of your old self and birth of your new self. And it really is overnight because you're like, he will be around now.
Yeah.
And whether I keep him alive or not is going to be very obvious for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, this is like so far my biggest project yet, you know, and like it's crazy.
I think like to add to that, like I think things that I took for granted is just really like, you know, being able to like not plan your days, just like kind of wake up and like wake up whenever. Like it could be 9. I never like
oh my God, wake up whenever.
Yeah, that has just never happened again, right? And then like also just being able to be like, oh, like today, like I want to go to salon and get my hair done, or like maybe let me sit in a cafe for a little bit and do this, you know, just like all these like spontaneous things that you could do, or be in a gym for a little longer. Today I'm going to take it slow, or like let me pick up, you know, a book at the bookstore, read through things that I want. Like nothing is, life has never been like that ever again. I mean, going through the bookstore now means I know what book I'm going to pick up because he's going to be in the kids section.
Throwing himself on the floor,
so
wanting
it means
to leave.
go in, pick it up, make sure he gets what he needs, go pay it and go home, right?
Yeah.
It's no scrolling and looking at the shelves and like, or like, you know, going to the salon whenever and like pick the color and like sit there and like, no, like talking about doing nails, hair, I can probably count the times I do it per year because it's like an extra thing, and I'm working too, right? So like,
so you feel guilty.
I feel
when you have
guilty
free
because
time,
that's
just,
like
oh my
2
God,
Mom guilt
that's
is
like
real.
a whole
Mom guilt is
so
a real thing, and it's I don't want to underestimate it, but at the same time, I catch myself being so unreasonable and unrealistic about mom guilt. And it could be about the most pathetic thing.
Yeah,
like
I'm with you.
Today I have mom guilt. I have mom guilt every day, by the way. I'm not sure if is that something that you guys have every day. Today I have guilt that I'm working and I cannot go and pick my daughter up from school and send her to Chinese school. Already this morning I was like feeling that little bit of guilt.
Yeah.
But then I got to take myself back and be like, no.
Yeah.
Mom has things to do too.
Yeah.
Which, you know, has been a big adjustment and something that I'm still trying to adjust because, or sometimes I could cancel something and my husband goes, why are you going to cancel it? Go.
Oh God.
She
Sounds
will be
just like
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no,
Mm.
I just don't feel, and I have to learn how to manage that.
Yeah.
So that leads me to my other question is how do you balance your previous life and the life you have now? Like, what is that how do you, because we're all doing different things, you know? Like we're all friends, but we all live different lives.
Yes.
We're also working. So how do you find that balance of like staying true to yourself and also being a good mom and just not having that mom guilt?
I honestly, what helps me to pick myself or prioritize myself some days is just going back to the most cliche saying, but it really does help. Happy mom, happy Leon. Because I show up differently. And I'm talking nails or meetings or just this podcast. Like this for me is my me time.
You're doing you.
Because this is my we're hanging out now, you know, like, and I'm like, I'm hanging out without him, which is nice. You know, I can actually have a conversation without restarting it 50th time, you know, because conversations when you have your kids around doesn't go anywhere. You're just repeating yourself. And it's just like, hey, let's just kind of, you know, like, I'll call you after this.
Yeah.
And the call never happens because, I don't know, a diaper change or whatever. So this is nice. So I constantly tell myself today, after this, I'll have another errand to run. And when I go home, my tank is so filled and I actually long to see him again. Because I do need my adult conversation. I can't do blah, blah, blue, blue, like think he's blue.
You mean you can't talk to your son all day, all night?
Yep.
I can.
About
I miss
dinosaurs
this.
and cars
I miss this.
and
Yeah.
superheroes. Yeah.
So that helps me. And I mean, I feel like both our husbands do such a, I mean, I know your husbands, right? So they do such a great job at pushing us also to do stuff for ourselves.
We
so
married
I think
right.
That's major.
Oh,
that
we
is
did.
major.
We married right
That
for
is
the right
really-
reasons.
Yeah.
And that was they're very hands-on.
They are hands-on. And
which I think is so important.
It is
because
so
it's not
important.
just about mom and daughter and son or, you know, whatever it is. It's really about that family unit.
Can't
And
agree more.
But it's also kind of like what you're okay with. Some people are okay with their fact that their husbands are just not as hands-on. Like I have friends that have husbands that,
Same.
you know, they wouldn't leave their kid alone with their dad, you know, to save their lives, right? And they're okay with that, which is, you know what? That's fine.
I think no
but
matter,
I needed someone that's hands-on.
Yeah. I think the hands-on part, depending on how that looks like in each family, is probably different. But I think as long as you feel like you're not in it alone, like your husband somehow is part of it. Like whether it's him going out and work and you're a stay-at-home mom, that's still a team effort, right? Because he's going out to bring in, you know, the finances so you can uphold this family. That's a teamwork too.
Yeah.
But it can look different too. It can look like with us, our time working is like different. So I'm gone during the day, he's gone at night. So somehow we juggle that. But I think the early stages when I look back at my husband, even now on days I'm like so pissed off at him. I'm mad at him. But when I look back to the early like first 6 months, the way he showed up, I cannot like I can't like I barely choke when I think about it because he's so like every time I woke up, because I have to feed, like you're a milk bar, right? You this booby thing, it becomes an open
I don't even
hour
want to
It's
get
an
onto the
object. It's an
booby
object.
thing right now.
There's
It's like a
no,
whole other
there's no
subject.
it's not a sexual object anymore.
No,
I swear to God, I could
it's not
breastfeed.
sexy. It's
I
not
could
sexy.
breastfeed him
Boobs are
open
just
air.
not
It's
sexy
not.
anymore.
It's an object.
Yeah, I felt like boob is like an elbow. Like I can like whip it out and I'm
Right?
like, it's my
And it's
elbow.
like,
Because
what
Your
you're looking
boobs
at.
have a purpose
Yeah.
right now, girls. Okay,
It's like-
up until I had a baby, did I realize that my boobs have a purpose in life other than
Yep.
Then,
other
like,
things.
And it's just
other
like one of
things.
your thing. And my husband, kid you not, every time I woke up to feed Jalen, he would wake up with me to first change the diaper. So then he has a clean diaper. And then, because you change a lot of diapers when telling you
I
the
didn't
first
know
6
that.
months. And then to put him on my boob, and then he would set everything up, get me a bottle of water, get me a snack, because I will be in that feeding station for like a good 30 minutes, right? And then he will be like half asleep with me. And even though he couldn't do what I was doing, I felt like he was right there with me, and for that, I'm just going to be forever thankful. And also, like, I will tell Jalen the story when he grows up, just so he knows, like, Daddy was around and he was such a team player. And I hope one day when you grow up, you'll do the same for your wife because it's everything. And really, like, to all the husbands out there, if you don't know, and I know it can be like, you can feel helpless because the mom is just going to take over a lot. And as a dad, it's probably not easy to, because you sit there and you're like, how can I help?
Yeah, how can I help?
Like, what can I do better? Like, because I can't
Exactly
physically.
Bring water, bring snack, just be up, be sleep deprived with me, man. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, just be around. Be a team player.
Be a team player.
I think that's the one thing that I feel so grateful for John about, was that if I'm not getting any sleep, neither was he. But some people do it differently. It's like, I'll sleep at this time, and then which works too.
Because you need one functional authority figure here, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just both like
That's true.
that's just not safe for the kid. But
yeah.
So for me, nighttime was like the only time we struggle because my husband has epilepsy, which goes hand in hand with how much sleep he gets.
Sleep. Yeah.
So I remember reaching out to Asa in the very first few months. I did actually the first 3 months myself, the most crucial, because I saw this quote online and I was like, oh my God, it speaks to all of us a bit. No one is as exhausted as a modern mom. And it's true. I don't know what's happening to us. Like, we just don't, like, I think it's trust issues. It's, I don't know what, like, I don't know if raising a kid was always hard, because we pay for help these days, right? Yeah. Modern moms pay for help. So when you pay for help, there comes trust that you need to put into your helper's hand while your kid is so fragile and you are too mad hormonal, right? Yeah. But in the past, I guess there's just people around. We married our husbands. We decided to live by ourselves and pay a helper, right? And so for me, that was not always like easy to be like, take her, let me take a nap.
Also mom guilt again, right?
Mom guilt again.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Asa because I heard of night nurses. So we started having a night nurse 3 times a night. And God, that was so life-changing. You know, like sleep deprivation, honestly, I understand now how it's a form of torture. It was a form of torture before, you both know, right? Because it's fucking intense.
Remember you came over to see me the first time?
On and on. Yeah, you were just like...
She told me I look like I'm out.
She was just not there.
Well, I fainted walking, almost fainted walking to the bathroom because I was like so sleep deprived. Yeah. But yeah, we had the same night nurse, which, by the way, was a lifesaver. Yeah. But it's not for everyone. Some people choose to have it, some people don't. Yeah. I thought it was great because, I came home and I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to do with the baby. And it was like, they teach you what to do, like wash your baby and do this. But I was like, oh, fuck, I'm just like, I'm going to kill her. Like there's like, I'm going to drop her and I'm going to this and this and that. And then you're not sleeping. Yeah. So I hired a night nurse, which by the way was like, the baby whisperer. We call her the baby whisperer in our house, really and she taught me everything that I know.
She has kids her own.
Yeah, she has her own kids.
A legit nurse.
And she just has this way of talking and like she's just very kid friendly and it just really helped me kind of feel more confident in what I was doing, because up until that point I was like having a meltdown about the ratio of formula. Yeah. Which I just couldn't understand because I was sleep deprived, how much formula versus water. And then I started crying. And Kunpra was like, Konosa, no, it's okay. And I was like, how much formula versus water? And she's like, I'm just going to do it. I'm like, tell me because I need to know. Because I'll be a better mom if I know. Again, mom guilt, right? But it was stupid things like that. And then crying in the shower and all that. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about how your body changes after having, because I feel like nobody really tells you these things. I mean, they'll tell you in like small comments here and there, but you don't really understand how much your body changes. I only breastfed, by the way, for 2 months. And I did not give myself too much shit about the fact that, some people are like, I'm going to breastfeed for 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to breastfeed for 1 year. To each of their own. I breastfed for 2 months.
Good for you.
Because I'm going to be honest, as much as like breastfeeding is like the thing, and I know it has more nutrition, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I just wasn't that into it. I don't know what it was. Like some people are just really like, oh yes, I'm going to breastfeed and the connection and the time that you have. Good for you guys.
For everyone.
I wasn't like that.
Were you getting blues? Were you getting like
blues?
Like I hear there's like baby blues when you breastfeed also because there's like a hormone that goes through your body once you know.
I mean, I was definitely in the shower crying a few times, like on the low, because I was like, oh, I feel so shit. Is this my life right now? Is this like, am I? And I knew that was, I guess, a little bit of postpartum. I didn't have such bad postpartum. But I only chose to breastfeed for 2 months on the dot. And I told my night nurse, when 2 months is up, hand me that glass of wine and I'm giving in my pump.
Yeah.
Because I'm done. And I remember asking John, like, do I even have to breastfeed? And he was like, at least try. So I tried. I didn't have that much milk. So eventually I was doing 50% formula, 50% milk. I was good to retire after 2 months. My boobs have never been the same.
Yeah.
Even after 2 months.
And
I'll tell you the difference.
I want you guys to talk because you know what? I feel like you guys are like a lot of people that might be watching or like, follow you might be like, oh, Sway Mac, like, how are you a mom and still looking so gorgeous? And you just told me the other day, you were like, you might feel like that, but inside you feel the changes, So maybe if you tell them what the changes are for you guys, because they might know like it's for everyone. It's nobody is like immune to that. Nobody pops out a baby and is like, I have no changes. And if you do, like, fuck you.
That's
because,
a bunch of bullshit. That's a bunch of mind bullshit right there.
I cannot with you if you're like that because it's just not for me.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't happen for me at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say lucky that I had, but I also got diabetes when I got pregnant. Do you remember that?
A lot of women do.
Yeah, I think there's a word for it. Guess what's the full word? There's like it's a special kind of diabetes that you only get when you're pregnant. And of course, I had to fucking get that. And I got everything under the sun, by the way, when I was pregnant. And I got that. And my doctor literally had to threaten me and say, if you don't get your shit in order and start cutting down sugar, which is crazy because I don't eat a lot of sugar. I'm actually very healthy, guys.
Yeah.
So I was shocked. So I cut out carbs and I was eating so much protein.
I remember.
So when I did give birth, I was able to lose the weight very easily simply because I had diabetes. Which in hindsight, when I got it, I was like, fuck my life. My husband is eating a fucking burger in front of my face right now. And it got to a point where I would fight with John and be like, don't eat that in front of me. And you're not being sensitive towards the fact that I can't eat this burger. And I'm sitting there and I would leave the room and be like, I'm going to go eat my like, I don't know, broccoli salad or whatever the hell I was eating at that time in the corner.
Your oats and your ginger water and all the things for lactation.
Yeah. And I allowed myself 1 carb a day. And that would be in the morning. I would have whole wheat toast with almond butter. That was like my 1 carb, which I was like.
That's even such a healthy carb. I thought like 1 carb, you're going to be like, so I had pasta for dinner.
No, I got scared. Like I was really scared. So I allowed myself to have that 1 carb. And it was almost like toast. Like I'd wake up and I would look forward to that. So I did lose baby weight really fast. Although, I mean, the changes you got, like my boobs and everything. Like people always say like, yeah, your boobs are never going to be the same after you give birth. It really is true, guys. That's not a myth. Like,
let's start with the dark nipples. Like, did you guys get the dark nipples?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They used to be
my
pink.
nipples were as dark as this mic.
I was telling G, I was like, remember when my nipples were charcoal? He's like, nah, they were like dark brown. I'm like, just
they're trying to be nice.
Man.
Trying to be nice.
Yeah, I used to take pride of my baby pink nipples.
Same here. I was like, I don't need those cream they sell on TikTok because like she's that. Yeah. She's perky pink.
Yeah. And what happens with the outer layer just like expands?
The base.
That used to be the base just goes like
the aurora.
It just widens. like out and it doesn't go back.
Mm.
The black goes back, like not to baby pink, but it goes back.
Yeah, you're
to,
never going back to baby pink.
Yeah, but
Good.
it goes back to like pinkish, like I feel like for me. But the outside ring is just like it's not going in.
Well, my boobs are not going up anymore. Like they are like I could swing them over my shoulders basically.
I know.
Like, come on, let's be real here, right? Like it's just not the same anymore.
Not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. You used to like, and then this is like, I hope you're not under 18. Like, if you're sitting on top of your man, right? It used to be like up, and you're like, hey, baby.
Now it's like, don't take off my bra. Don't take off my bra.
Now it's like,
Gonna kill it for me if you do.
Don't do it. Yeah, because then I'm turned off.
I'm insecure. Okay, I need to have fun too.
I need to have the thing up with the straps. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's bad. Yeah. And I don't know, like, your JJ feels different. Like I feel like mine's different. You know?
Everything feels
I feel
different.
like because
First of all, you can't see it for like a couple of months
Yeah.
because like your belly, like when you're pregnant, it's like not there.
But I also kind of don't want to see my vagina at the same time. Like, do people actually do that? Do people sit? I think there are people that sit there. So, okay, see, so she does
I
it.
do.
Like
wanna
do you
see it.
actually sit there and like
I
look at your vagina?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's yeah,
I
people
do,
do
I
that.
do.
it's so funny. I listen
I'm like,
to
vaginas are gross and I don't want to see my vagina. That being said, penises are kind of gross too.
Yeah.
But,
Way
you know,
gross. Yeah, way more gross than the JJ.
there's a reason for penises to be around. For me, like, I look at my vagina and I'm like, what? Like, I'm not like, I'm not one of
but
these girls where I'm like, my
Hey.
vagina is like
Okay, the reason I look at mine, that's just because like either you're shaving or like if you have some stuff going on that you're like, oh, like did I just get I'm gonna be so
what
gross.
stuff
like,
going
a
on,
pimple
honey?
or something. You
What
want to look
stuff?
at it and be like, is it or is it like you know? And you make sure it's like it's all right, like it's looking all right down there.
That's true.
Before your man, you know, you
Right.
gotta like make sure it's like tidy.
Oh no, what do you mean before your man? It's
Sees
only
it.
dark now for me. It's dim AF in the room now. Because I'm not having it the other. It's like daytime sex. It's like, no, out the window.
Okay, let's
Well,
talk
okay, that's
sex.
daytime sex.
feel
Who,
it
who
yet.
has
Have sex
time for
after
daytime
pregnant.
sex?
Yeah, we used to.
No.
Right?
But you have sex whenever you can though, because like
No.
where the hell when? 'Cause
Not
It's
even
like,
whenever
you heard it
I
here
can.
first.
Can
So
we
how do
talk
you
about
date?
that?
Yeah. So that's my next one.
Yeah.
How do you date your husband again? Because I've read and
That's a good
this is like a
question.
thing, right?
It is.
Where I can't remember where I read this or I heard this. When you're married,
Yeah.
you always have to date, but they use the contents of the wife. Like you always have to never stop dating your wife. But I assume it also kind of has to be the other way around, right?
Yeah.
You just got to date your partner. How do you still remain married and have kids and still date your partner? Like what does that mean for you?
Good question.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Silence.
You want to go first? Yeah.
Let's think about
Okay,
this.
I can go for. I want to say first thing, right? I felt like there was a real problem. Like after a couple months, my husband, of course, he was ready, you know, missing his wife. She popped a baby. Let's go back to us having a quickie, you know. But I didn't want it. Like I felt disgusted.
But that's normal though. I
Yeah.
heard that after women give birth, their hormones are just like in the garbage.
But also, I think
Innately,
it's important for us to talk about it so the men watching this get it too. That it's not personal. It's not that your wives don't love you or they don't want to, you know. But it's just they're dealing a lot with their bodies, and it's just not you don't want to even have sex with yourself. You're not, you know, you're just like not feeling it, and you for a second start feeling like you will never ever want to have sex again. And that thought is sad when you're like 30 and you're still, you know, you're not that old. You want to find that joyful. And when you don't feel like you want it, it's fucking sad for you as well. Just as much as for
I'm with
your
you.
partner that might feel
especially
like...
when you had like a healthy, like a good appetite, like a good libido, right?
Yeah.
And that's like gone. You do wonder like, is this just me now? Is it because I'm sleep deprived? Is it, what is it? Will I get it back? Will I get it back to what degree? Because I do like her before when it comes to this. You know, I do like the playfulness and whatnot. Now I'm just like, oh, it's time. And it's sad.
For women also, and this is something I just want to add quickly, is that when we give birth, there's actually a scientific explanation too as to why.
Yeah.
But this doesn't happen for everybody, but I'm going to speak for myself too. And maybe this happened to you, May, because I believe this happened to me, is that when I gave birth, my hormones dropped so much that actually today I go and see she's a wellness doctor, and they did a whole bunch of hormone tests because I feel like I'm premenopausing, which by the way I totally am because I got my results back and I am actually premenopausing.
Ooh,
Which
that would be such a good EP, honestly.
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't want to get into that,
'Cause, yeah.
but my aunt was 38 when she premenopaused. I'm 43, and so she was like, "It's coming a bit early, but it's happening now to modern moms.
Yeah.
Times are not the same anymore." So she said, "Your hormones dropped so much when you gave birth that we need to bring them back up." So I take a bunch of supplements right now to up my hormone level so that I can start to feel a little bit more normal again.
Yeah.
Because it truly is what you said. It's like you need to get that libido back and to date your husband. And it's not just about having sex, though. It's also
No,
about
not
making
at
time
all.
to do
Yeah.
date night.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is so difficult. Me and John try to do it like once a week. Who are we trying to kid? We do it like once a month,
Yeah.
which I know it's not good, which I don't recommend.
Yeah.
But
But same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do it, you're like, why don't we do this more often?
Yeah.
Like, we need this is so great.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the same thing. You don't find time because you just have other stuff going on and your kid is a priority. And at the end of the day, you're tired. You just, you just don't do it.
mhm.
I know before you have a baby, you might think like, what's so hard about scheduling one date like
It's
in a month?
really hard, guys.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. Mom guilt again. Then you have time and you feel like, oh, let's spend it together as a family. Your kid is crying when you leave the house, so it's kind of painful. I don't want to leave.
Yeah.
But you guys are able to leave your kids at home, though, because I know some people that will they do that. I think there's a word for it where wherever mom goes, baby goes too. Like they don't separate. And I guess
Yeah.
they feed on demand and like this like a whole
I
thing.
used to be her,
Oh, yeah?
but
and how
it
did
was
that?
not good for my mental health. By the way, like we talked about like how society, how this like bounce back mentality. You always hear about it being physical, like the mentality of like a mother bouncing back physically, like, oh, she still
Yeah.
got it. She's still fit and firm. She's taking care of
She
herself.
might not
after-
be mentally
Yeah,
bounced
but
back.
like no one really talks about or acknowledge that bounce back mentality is also put on women mentally. Like you're like what, after 30 days, how many, like you got a month leave, right? Because I
Yeah.
took off work when I was 7 months pregnant. I just couldn't drive myself to the office anymore with like, peeing everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired. So it's like I'm taking off for a year. It's been 2 years. Anywho, you're supposed to bounce back mentally too.
Yeah.
Like we're just wired differently now that we're moms. Like I can't be fully present at like wherever I am. Even here, like I'm like, while you're talking for 5 seconds, I
You're
was
thinking
like,
about, what
"Where's
about
my
Leon?"
lunch?" Yeah, no, like
Yeah,
what will he have for lunch? And I'm like, may snap back here. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's just
totally.
stuff like that. It's just the bounce back mentality mentally too for women. It's like, no, we can't. We're just wired differently now.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
wonder if it's like forever now.
Yeah.
Like he
It
could be
is.
18, but for me, he's
Yeah.
my little Leon.
And
And
like,
see, I had 2 weeks break and I had to go back to work,
yeah,
which is
how
insane,
did
by the
you-
way.
It's insane.
But okay, it's radio, so it wasn't like a whole day. So I
Yeah.
was gone for like a few hours, 3 to 4 hours, and then back. First week, cried every day in the car
Yep.
because guilty. Just feel like what kind of mom am I? I'm leaving my child, but I had to go back financially speaking to, and so I went back to work, and then it slowly went back more and more, and until today, and my son is 4. I feel like it's never easy because you think about what is he having for lunch? What is he doing for dinner? I call my mom. Luckily, my mom helps. So I can call her and be like, how is he doing? You FaceTime. And I even take that into my personality when I work, right? So everyone in my team
They
calls
know.
me man,
Yeah.
like mom.
Yeah.
Because I'm still like a mom, like still at work with my team, I'm a
True.
mom.
That's a
you
whole
know?
other thing that
True.
like
Like-
creeps me out too now is that like even like my YouTube team here is like, man.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
It's true. That's
damn,
your stance
like,
now as
yeah.
mom.
Like, I've gone to like Ase Wang to like man. Which is like a
know.
whole other thing. And I
It's
think,
wild.
oh my God, it's so not sexy. And I'm like so used to it. And I'm
know.
like thinking, my FHM day,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I know.
Your man now,
You know?
yeah. And it started in the hospital. Like when you checked in.
The first time, right?
คุณแม่
When they
I was
start
like-
addressing
I was
you,
like,
yeah.
I used to be คุณเมย์ you know, like, oh, okay,
Or
คุณ
DJ
แม่ and I
May.
was like, yeah, even our nanny now calls me mama.
แม่
Yeah.
Mama,
Yeah.
mama วันนี้กินอะไร วันนี้ mama ทำอะไร I was like, I'm just mama.
Yeah.
And when G started, my husband started, mama, do this. I'm like, don't.
Yeah.
It's already dead.
And
Between
it's not
us,
that-
there. Like, don't call me mom too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not cute.
Yeah. And I know when people call you.
Oh no.
It is
I think
not
if my husband
cute.
called me like meh or like mom,
Yeah.
can you do that? I think, oh my God, I think I would be
Some
so mad.
family has this.
And he
right?
doesn't. He still calls me babe, which by the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
he used to do when we date. So like, you know,
Yeah.
that's all good. Although
Yeah.
I'm totally guilty though. I always call him like, hey dad.
Oh.
And I'm like, maybe I should stop that because it might work the same way, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if he started calling me like mom, Kaya's calling for you, I'd be like, yo.
Yeah. And I know like when people call you Matt, it's
It's
like
not
out of
helping me.
it's like out of respect. It's like
Yeah,
in
it's-
Thai
it's
also it's very
cute.
like
Yeah,
Matt.
honored.
It's like very, you know, respectful.
It's an honoring title.
Yeah,
right?
it's actually nothing negative about it, but it's this is exactly what we're talking about. It's your identity becomes mom. I'm just mom. But you are other things.
Yeah, we're multifaceted,
Yeah.
man. We're meant to do.
Different
I was doing
things.
many things prior, so why can't I just now I have to just solo mom? You know, like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
I have
do
a
that.
question. Do you ever look at other women,
Mhm.
meaning women that have not yet gotten married
Yeah.
and have kids,
Where's
and
this
sit
going?
and just kind of like admire them
Yep.
for a minute? Because I do that all the
Or
time.
hate
Same,
them.
same.
Like hate them.
Same.
I
That's
secretly
more
hate
like
you.
me. I'm like
I do, and I catch myself doing that sometimes, going like, she looks good.
I was
Like,
like, you
yeah.
still have that thigh gap, huh?
Like, oh yeah, like she looks good. And then I kind of go back into the like,
Oh
yeah,
my
man,
God.
like I used to look like that.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, how do you stop those thoughts and how do you like manage them? Because I can go down that fucking rabbit hole
Oh, yeah.
sometimes. And then
And
I
I'm
have
sure
to
because
stop
you're in the
myself.
entertainment business too, right? So you're like extra
yeah.
harsh
And
to
the
yourself
scrolling,
physically also.
sometimes I
Mm.
catch myself and I have to
Yeah.
stop because I'll be scrolling going like, ooh, she just went to
Yeah.
I don't know, freaking Italy with her
Mm.
boyfriend and she
Mm.
looks really good. Her ass,
Mm.
like, she looks
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, can we talk
And I
about
catch
that?
myself, and I'm not gonna lie, for a second, I will have that bit of jealousy
Mm.
and be like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not healthy. I have to stop the scrolling
Yep.
and I just have to be in the moment. And I get it, but it's so hard to do.
It is.
Yeah.
No one talks
Or-
about like having a kid and your ass is gone.
Yep.
Everything you worked hard for is just flat.
Mm.
Did this happen to your ass? I was like,
Well,
where's my
mine is
ass?
everything goes wider. It's not
My
really
ass is
going
okay,
flat.
but my boobs are not. And my stomach is not the same anymore. I could
Oh,
do
yeah.
like 500 push-ups and my stomach still be like it's still not as tight as what it used to be.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it's a very, very real thing.
Yeah.
It is.
So what you said, like, how do we manage it? You know what? The best we can.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like a lot of times we have to tell ourselves just be whatever it is. Like, yeah, like I'm like, fine, I can look at like a young 25-year-old that talks about how tired she is, you know, from her daily life and like coming from the
Punch her in the
spa.
throat.
And
Or
inside
punch her in
I'm
the
just
throat. I'm like,
you-
what is tired?
You little spoiled, you know, but
Yeah.
it's not their fault. It's just that's where we're at in life, where
Right.
we look at that and then I catch myself talking about my past a lot. I used to do this and I feel old because only an old person would constantly talk about their past.
Oh my God, I do that too.
But having a kid does that to you. It's
Yeah.
true. You know, I
catch my mom doing it sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I would be like,
I
oh my
do
God,
that
this is like
too.
her thing, you
Yeah.
know, where she was like, you know, all due respect, mom, I love you. But, you know, it's like, yeah, I used to work for Scandinavian Airlines and I used to, and I would be like, oh, she's like,
I used
you know.
to be FHM cover.
No,
You're starting.
I used to.
be
Yeah.
an FHM cover
Yeah.
model. Or like I used to be like that. I used
Yep.
to be, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm totally turning into that
Yep.
person
Yeah.
right now.
You know, I just work with like one of my artists that shot a music video with like 25 girls that came dressed and, you know, and they were doing their thing twerking.
We
and
had
I'm
this
just like,
conversation.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, I used to go
Yeah.
to the club.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you just feel.
Do you guys feel like you need to behave differently now that you're a mom in clubs
Sometimes.
or whatever? Like when if you know like a gang kind of knows you and you're like
Yeah.
out there twerking, you're like,
Yeah.
but แม่ you know like แม่มี
I
you know?
struggle with that.
I do. I feel like that too.
But I struggle with that in the sense that like I'm gonna admit, like when I first after I gave birth, after breastfeeding, like literally the day that I handed in my pump, I was like, I told my nurse, give me that glass of wine.
Yeah.
And I was drinking.
Yeah.
And then I had my cigarette because I was like, like this was my life, you know, which by the way, I'm not condoning this at all.
Yeah.
I will though, however, say that when I go out, I am still at that point where I'm like, if I'm gonna go out,
I'm gonna go out.
I'm gonna have that glass of wine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance till my freaking heels fall out of my shoes. Until my shoe breaks, which has happened a few times. And I may or may not have that cigarette, which by the way, I do not smoke anymore. I quit, but I do social smoke sometimes. I will also admit. And I will do that. And I don't give a flying fuck who sees
so
me.
Good for you. This is so refreshing.
At the end of the day, as much as mom guilt I have, I know that I'm still doing a fucking good job because my daughter seems pretty happy. And if I want to have a whole bottle of wine and behave badly and smoke a fucking cigarette, I will.
Do it. I love that.
And I fucking will.
Yeah,
you know?
You should.
But my parents are probably going to be like, God, I can't believe she's having a cigarette because my parents hate it when I smoke. But you know what? I will have that one cigarette every once in a while. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah.
And I'm good, you know? So I'm definitely not one to try to like you guys might hold back, but I'm like the opposite where I'm just like, I even try to make more of a point.
I want to not hold back and I want to put myself in positions where I just do that. But it's more like things that turn me off doing it. Like say like if I for work have to go in a social gathering and there are young people that are drinking or I'm drinking, you know, I might take things like that here and there. But if someone then comes up to me and is like, you're Jalen's mom, right? It just
kills it.
Yeah.
Kills it.
Yeah. It's like it's just like yes. And then I feel like I'm expected to now be Jalen's mom. Yeah, you know, like you're twerking, you're doing your thing, and you got, you know, and then you're like, oh, like you're Jalen's mom. And it's like it just
kills the mood.
Yeah,
it does.
You know?
I'm definitely a bit more aware though, a little bit sometimes, because this brings me back to I was having lunch with Vicky the other day and I was not thinking carefully about the fact that I had to go pick up Kaya from school. And I wore these like really short aloe shorts. And for one second, I was like, dude, I asked Vicky, do you think my shorts are too short to like go pick my daughter up? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, fuck it. And I went with my booty ass shorts to school and pick her up because I was like, fuck this shit. Whatever, I don't care anymore.
Nah, you shouldn't though. I feel like if you can rock the booty shorts, then go ahead and do it. You know what? Because in a couple of years, that might not even be something we want to do anymore, you know? So I feel like if whatever age you're a mom, you know, do whatever you want to do. Just do you. Like we are feeling this mom guilt and we are feeling this way because of all this things that have been put on our head. If you're a mom, you should behave like this. Oh, you're a mother, don't do this. You shouldn't speak like this. Or your daughter's like this. All these things we grew up like this too, right? So that's why we are feeling all the feelings that we're feeling right now, like guilt and all that. And yes, I feel like it should be normalized. We should just be whoever the fuck we are, even though we have a...
I think we also have to accept that things do change. I had a moment after I gave birth where a company, I'm not going to say what company it was, that I worked with for many, many years, slowly, I guess would say, stopped working with me. And I took that to heart because I was like, because I'm sensitive. I just gave birth. I have like 500 hormones going in my body.
Exactly.
And I was like, they stopped working with me because I became a mom. And I held on to that for the longest time. And I was so upset. And I said, I worked with them for so long. And why do I feel like they dropped me just because I became a mom? They say that they did, but I felt otherwise. But I had to accept it. I had to accept it. Did I feel like it could have been done better? Yes. Do I still hold a little bit of a grudge? Maybe a little bit. But I didn't want to be too much of a hater with it. And I let it go now. And I just had to center myself and be like, look, it's like saying, why isn't FHM putting me on the cover when I'm pregnant or just had a baby? I feel like they like Sports Illustrated puts people on their cover that have had babies. So I do feel like, but it's different in Asia and it's different. And I just have to accept that's the way that it was, you know? And that was a huge, in a sense, ego blow maybe for me.
Mm.
That I was like, and that was a huge sign that, okay, you've transitioned now to another phase of your life. This partnership that you've had no longer is
Yeah.
there. So I had to let go of that. So that was something. I also wanted to touch a little bit on when you're parenting, do you and your husband have the same? This one, she's already Penny's already answering my question that I haven't even finished.
No.
How do you find the medium in raising your child the same way as your husband? Because they can be very different.
Yeah.
Because just because they're your husband doesn't mean they were raised the same way.
No. Yeah. I mean, for me, okay, I say mostly our relationship already works well together because I think we have a lot of similar beliefs, So that being said, I think some of the things are kind of very hand in hand when we have a child. But yes, nitty-gritty things like raising a child, you are set up to have arguments because you and your husband, like you said, are raised differently and we have different beliefs. And also like the level of like worry about different topics are different, right? Like my husband becomes way more detailed and concerned, where sometimes I feel like I'm, so to say, like super chill mom. Like I'm not that worried. Like, like
you're the mom that I strive to be because I'm like psycho, anxiety, overthink everything, spiral. I torpedo.
Yeah, true. You do.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you do.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
I do, and I overthink, and I'm a hypochondriac, along with, a whole bunch of other things.
But that being said, it's also good to have both, right? If one parent is a little more chill, one is a little more psycho.
The balance that works.
Like, it's balanced. If
I'm the
both were
psycho
too chill, it might be too dangerous.
So which one is the psycho one in your relationship?
It's definitely my husband is the psycho one.
And what about for you?
I don't know. This topic leads me to gentle parenting.
Is there such a thing as gentle parenting? I would like to think there is.
Our kids, all three, Kaya,
Yeah.
Jalen, Leon, they're all alpha, Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
Sheba, Gen Alpha. And I feel like with Gen Alpha, this gentle parenting method is on steroids. You hear it everywhere. You open your social media. I unfollowed so many accounts because I feel like it makes me not trust my gut feel. Like I'm already ba. Like don't make me spiral.
Yeah.
And who are you to say these things also? Are you like a psychologist? What are we talking about? But at home, I feel like eye to eye is we don't believe in gentle parenting much. Because would you put your kid to a school where you have no alumni? Like, I don't know, like, because there's no alumni yet, so to say, of gentle parenting. You don't know are they going to just be like brats walking around, honestly. Like, so at home, like, there's consequences to his actions. We set boundaries, we set limits, all of that.
Yeah.
We of course, we try navigate his feelings with him.
Yeah.
Sit down and whatnot. But I don't think we're always meant to be their friends.
No.
We're meant to be an authority figure.
Yeah.
They need someone to lead and guide and show them the way. Protect them and prepare them for the real world, right? I feel like
I am on the same.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like
Same path.
this is the first time I'm talking about gentle parenting.
I am your mom and I can be your friend too, but you will have friends in school that you can play with and be friends with, but I am your mom.
And
I'm not going to be both.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like I can try to be your friend, but you're going to have other friends and I'm going to be your mom.
Yeah.
And all this sitting around with your child, how do you feel? And all this. Okay, I get it. And I do ask Kaya sometimes, well,
for sure.
How do you feel? But I'm not going to sit and try, I'm not going to abuse my child. It's not saying that I like punch her in the face when she doesn't do anything that I want her to do.
But are you mentally
I'm also
though?
not,
do I want to?
Yeah, in my
are you
head,
mentally picturing that sometimes?
But I'm also not the kind to do that whole 100% gentle parenting because I am the kind that, if you do something, I'm like, so how are you going to fix this problem, girl?
Yeah.
I'm still going to be like, you need to set these
there needs to be
boundaries.
some structure, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be, because and I don't know if it's just me believing that, but I also feel like the kid then ends up feeling more secure as well because they're like, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Because like with friends, like, I'm not going to be 2 years old like you are, and we both don't know what to do with life. That's just fucking dangerous if you ask me, So as of now, I do know what's best for you.
Yeah.
And this is what you're going to do.
But also, like, I feel like it comes with, like, little things too. Like they say like gentle parenting is also when your kid does something and you're like, oh, please don't do that. Like talk to them like gentle and quiet. Well, sometimes life is stressful and I don't have the nerves to be like, please, I'll do it. Like I'll try like once.
Try. We
I'll
all
be
try.
like, hey, please don't do that because this can break. Yeah. Jalen, please don't do that because don't do it. Okay.
time,
Like I said it to you 3 times now. You stop. Like that's
exactly how I am. Kaya, please stop.
Yeah.
Kaya, please stop. Kaya, I said this 5 times, baby. Stop.
And they go like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
you don't have to be this
time. It's like, oh, okay, I'll stop. Yeah,
well, now Kaya turns around and she goes, Mom, you're being rude cakes. Because we say rude cakes. When you're being rude cake.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you're absolutely right. Like, you're absolutely right.
Jalen goes like, are you happy?
Oh, yes. I've heard
Yeah.
Jalen will turn around and go, Mom, are you happy?
Are you happy?
Yeah, he's the
Bless
sweetest.
him.
Yeah, and then I go like, no, right now I'm not happy. And then he goes, please be happy. It's like when
That's
you stop.
so sweet, though.
It's sweet, but it's also, he knows this is how he gets me. So when I'm on level 10, he's like, oh, you happy?
I've heard him say that.
Yeah.
He's like, Mom, are you happy? And it's like random out of
It's so
nowhere.
cute.
Yeah,
I'm
but
like,
it could
that's so
also
Checking
because
on you.
I'm psycho, and so he wants me to be like,
He's putting you in your place.
He's
You
like,
need to be
be
happy.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, before we wrap up, any advice to mothers out there that you could give to be real?
I think what Penny mentioned in the very beginning is so important. Find your mom gang. Like, yeah, it's lucky for you if someone you like, a close friend of yours is pregnant when you are, but that's not always the case, you know? And find your mom tribe that you're like CI and, you know, because like there's Ash, our common friend. That's like when we met at the playground, I was like, she's my mom friend, you know, because like we just talk similar, we view things different. Similarly, like she doesn't, you know, like I can't imagine myself being good friends with a mother who does just gentle parenting because she would just be shocked how I go about.
Well, Kaya wouldn't be hanging out. What her friends would not be, and this sounds so selfish in a way, but it's the reality of it. Her friends would be kids that I can hang out with too.
As well. Yeah, it's important, right?
You know, and but some people do it differently. Some of my friends say, "Oh, I would never hang out with them if it wasn't for my child." That happens too. But for me, I choose to like. I want us to have the same. You know. Do you have any advice for?
I think as much as you are, you know, thinking about what's best for your kids and what kind of mom you want to be and the way you want to raise your kids, I think you have to be very nice to yourself also, you know, like the gentle parenting, be gentle to yourself because like also I just feel like don't expect perfection. There's no perfect mom. Like,
and you're doing it for the first time.
Yeah. And also if
nobody knows what the fuck they're doing, guys. Nobody knows.
Yet we're doing well.
Yeah. And
somehow.
And we
my
touched
kid
about
somehow
different
is
things.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, we touched about like, breastfeeding or not breastfeeding, or we didn't even talk about like co-sleeping or sleeping alone or whatever.
There's so
like
much.
whatever people are talking about and whatever you read about it, you make your own decisions on what works for you. It's your child, you're the mom, you and your husband, you know, you do what's right for you. Fuck everyone else. Really, like in this area, I will say like, screw them. It's right for you. And whatever people have to say, even if it's your parents, your grandmom, and I love you, mom, but like whatever they say, what's best for your child, like they don't know.
Worked for
it
their
might work for them.
genre.
It doesn't work for you. Do what's best for you.
I think, I'm on the same page with that. For me, it's like cancel out all that whispering that people are going to tell you. People would come to the hospital and tell me, you got to do this, this, and this. And it would just give me so much anxiety.
Yeah.
Cancel out the whisper. And you are raising your child, but you're also raising yourself.
Yes.
Yep.
So when you put aside time to raise your child, raise yourself because your child is growing and you know what? You kind of are growing too with them.
Yeah.
So you got to balance that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to wrap up, but
Okay.
I am so happy that you guys were my first guests on this. And I'm hoping that everyone got something from this EP. And thanks for coming and, you know,
Thanks
keeping
for
it real
having
with
us.
me.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
We could keep talking, by the way.
We could,
But we got
could.
stopped. So that's the end of this EP. Thank you.
Yay.